Are you tired of the mental illness labels? Are you tired of the public stigma of mental illness? I know I am. I complain all the time about labels. I say, well, just put another label on it. They'll come up with something new. Oh, it's another label. How can we break the stigma? How can we get rid of the labels? How can we get to the point of acceptance? I feel like an outsider. I feel like I'm not accepted. I feel like I have labels. And it's very uncomfortable. It makes me very sad. And it actually makes me more depressed than I was before. Hearing the labels, being labeled, the stigma. All you hear is stigma, stigma, stigma. Well, do something about it. Accept it. Accept that we were born this way. Accept that our lives were bad and maybe tragic. That we've become this way. That we've acquired. And I don't know what other word to use. But we didn't ask for this. So why do we have to almost feel punished for having mental illnesses and being mental ill? And have to take these medications that sometimes make us worse. I know that I can't stand the word stigma. I can't stand labels. I feel like it's unfair. I feel like it's unjust. You don't label people who are, I don't know, I can't even come up with an example. But somebody who has MS, you know, say, oh yeah, look at them, they're in a wheelchair because they have MS. And they have cancer, so we have to label them. You know, labels really bother me. And people who don't have mental illnesses or tend to label people who do, what they have to do is called educate themselves. Then they're going to realize that there's no need for labels. There's no need for stigmas. It's unfair and it's unnecessary. It hurts us more to have labels and to be have stigmas. I always get upset when I hear somebody in Hollywood, oh, they're bipolar, oh, they have this. It seems like the higher up you are, the more, I don't want to say attention, but it's true. You know, somebody famous committed suicide, and it makes headline news. It's all over the place. But, you know, Trisha down the block, she committed suicide. It doesn't matter. It matters to family. It matters to friends. But they slap a label on her because she was mentally ill. And either she couldn't get the help she needed, or the help that she did get didn't work, obviously. But sometimes no matter how much help you get, it's not enough. People commit suicide for numerous reasons. And I'm not really making this video just about suicide. I'm making it about stigma. I'm making it about labels. I'm making it that mental illness needs to step up to the plate as much as cancer. as much as, you know, every other illness that's out there. And the more videos we make, maybe it will get people to click on it and get, you know, out of curiosity. Well, what's bipolar? What is borderline personality disorder? And when I was diagnosed with borderline, I had never heard of it. I'm like, oh my God, what is that? And I did some research, and even after the research, I still don't fully understand it, because that is one that to me is really complex. You know, you hear about schizophrenia, you hear about multiple personalities. Those have been around for a really long time, and people understand those more, in my opinion. And the one thing that I heard the most, and this is just going to be honestly brutal, is the label of fucking crazy. So and so has borderline. I never really hear about borderline. It's bipolar is the big one, and as well as schizophrenia and multiple personality. But borderline is, to me, the one I hear about the most. And that person is labeled, and there's that big stigma that people want. I think they want to know, but they're scared. People who are mentally ill tend to scare other people. But the most thing I ever heard out of everything is that person's fucking crazy. Because of the fact that they're not properly medicated, they don't get the support that they need. So they act up, they act out, and that's really not a good description, because of the simple fact that we can't help it. It's our brains. They don't understand that our brains have I'm fucking tired. They have they're unstable. There's problems there that we can't control. There's chemical reaction going on up there that we don't want to play like everybody else. So we're different. Oh my God, we're different. We're fucking crazy. It's a chemical imbalance. That's what I was looking for. And that's just really mean. It's really mean for people to act that way, to be that way, to judge that way. It's so judgmental. People think this: you're bipolar. You're fucking stupid. That is just horrific for people who don't understand. And you know, in my case, I was married for 15 years. And when I asked him why he was divorcing me, he said, I'm sick of the bipolar roller coaster. That was just, I think, around 2 months, maybe. Around 2 months or so, let's just say. I don't recall, because I was so over the top upset. And I had just watched my father pass away in front of me. I was going through med change. I was all over the place. And I get slapped with divorce papers where I thought my marriage was perfect. I was expected to be a Stepford wife. I was supposed to do what he wanted me to do. I was supposed to be what he wanted me to be. But what happened was December 19th, 2000, 6 days before Christmas, my 8-year-old had an accident at home and passed away, and I found him. I'm going to pause here for a second. Let you hear that. I found him deceased. If that doesn't make me fucking crazy, I don't know anything that would. Six days before Christmas. And people wonder why I hate holidays. People wonder why I'm fucking crazy. People wonder why I've gone off the deep end. People wonder why I've taken 250 pills to try to be with him in heaven. You know, so that's only one trauma that has happened in my life. My ass sitting here for days on end trying to make these videos to help other people so they don't think they're fucking crazy. And yeah, the F word does come out when I get upset, because it's the only way I know how to express my true feelings and my angst. I'm sick of the stigma. I'm sick of being labeled. I'm sick of living. Everybody knows it. My therapist is so helpful. He says, well, you don't have to live. Implying that I don't have to live. Although it's illegal to commit suicide. And that's kind of an oxymoron-ish type thing where, well, if it's illegal and you actually go through with it, well, you can't be arrested for it, obviously. But in my way of thinking was him saying, well, if you don't want to live, do something about it. I can't say that was the best advice, but he pretty much said, what's stopping you? You know, there's the people who say people who commit suicide are selfish. You know what? The people who commit suicide, they're dead. They don't give a fuck what you think. Honest to God truth, right? Yeah. Seasonal depression is starting to set in. Sad thing is, I get it double because I'm bipolar. So I get seasonal depression on top of my depression, and I find it very hard to cope because I'm depressed all the time. We bought this house over a year ago. Yeah, David was fantastic. He's been fantastic. He has a hole in his heart. He's fallen us out. He had 3 strokes because of it. And you know what he's been doing? He's been painting the house. He built a deck. A repurposed deck. In other words, I found the wood. It was somebody's old deck. And all summer, well, not all summer, but for a couple weeks, he spent time building this deck, painting it, doing all this stuff at a slow pace because he doesn't want to have another stroke. But he wants to make what we have the best that we can have. He's risking his life. However, I'm going to take a little. He had 3 strokes, and you know what? I saved his life 3 times. But you know what? It took me, I don't know, 4 years, 3 years, to realize that had I not been there, he would have died. And so now, from the state we moved from, he went through 3 or 4 years of testing, on top of testing, on top of testing, after he had 2 strokes. Nobody could figure it out. We moved to our new state, and it was a matter of less than a year that they figured it out. He was born this way, with a hole in his heart. And it's a pinhole. But I'll just try to sum it up fairly quick. If he sits too long on the sofa, if that's all he does, this hole could get a clot in it. And if he makes a too sudden move or exerts himself or, you know, does anything like that, the clot could break free, go to his brain, and he could have another stroke. And then you have those great doctors down here that say, oh, you've had 3 strokes? Wow, most people don't make it past 2. Or, your next one is going to be your last one. You know, that's so encouraging. And then he has his bipolar. I call it his bipolar because he can have it. I have my own, thanks very much. And then he has rage, so he has to work on that. And he has other things he has to work on. And he's in therapy, and he has a psychiatrist, and we just so happen to be on the same medication, which is really weird. Not same doses, just same medication. Of course, he's on other medication too because of his other issues. But, you know, he has rage, his brother has rage, and he has to take medication for it. And thank God David doesn't. Thank God. I'm the only one who can calm him down. I have superpowers. Fuck yeah. But we've asked psychiatrists, we've asked therapists, how do two people, I'm concerned about the dogs outside, so I'm a little sidetracked, but how do 2 people who are bipolar, see, he's just bipolar and rage, I'm bipolar, borderline, PTSD, you know, I've got the laundry list, I've got the labels. How do 2 people who are bipolar manage in a relationship? You know, for educated professionals, their answer is always, I don't know. I don't know. Seriously. They don't even give us coping skills. Everybody always has fucking coping skills. Well, you know what? I've been in counseling since I was 14. I'm almost 53. I give them coping skills. I walk into my therapist's office, and he has a big whiteboard, you know, a magic erase. Is that what it's called? I don't know. A big whiteboard, and it'll say a word on it, and I'll go, oh, fuck. He goes, oh, no, that's not for you. That's for the last person. And I said, well, maybe we should go with that. Looks kind of interesting. So I razzed him pretty good. I went with a 28-year-old. Well, and I didn't pick his age, okay. But I went with a male therapist. And I did as well last time. And he's only 28. He's just a baby. But I like having a male therapist because then I get a male perspective on things. Females tend to talk about girl stuff. I don't want to talk about girl stuff. That's why I have girlfriends. Not like that. Because that would be another label. I'm so tired. I need to get my shit together. But, yeah, anyway. So he slowly has been painting the outside of the house and the carport, built the deck, been cleaning up the garage, just doing stuff, you know. But the inside of the house hardly has any decoration. We have the stuff. We just don't have the desire. We don't know where to put stuff. This house is twice the size of our last house. I did get my clothes put away. Usually I live out of a laundry basket because it's overwhelming. I'll find like the most, I don't want to say petty, but the most simple things that normal people do. I call them normal people, because if they want to call me fucking crazy, then I'm going to call them fucking normal. Maybe it doesn't make sense, but it does to me, because, you know, I have my own way of thinking. But I had like 2 or 3 heaping laundry baskets full of clothes, and I always have. I've always lived out of laundry baskets because it's too overwhelming to put the shit away. So one day I actually unloaded. I have 4 dressers, 2 closets, 3 closets, and the shit was sitting there for months because I just don't have the desire to do it. But I did one day, and I'm like, yay, I put my clothes away, and it's all, you know, my pajamas, my pairs of pajamas are paired together, and it's not just, I didn't just throw the shit away, I actually separated it, and, you know, I was really proud of myself for that. And I guess you don't understand that there are just parts that are, you know, the smallest chores can just be huge. I don't know why. I don't fucking know. But I know I've lived out of a laundry basket for many, many, many years. That's just how I lived. I don't know why. So anyway, for the stigma, what has to happen there, in my opinion, is how do you sell shampoo? How do you sell tampons? How do you sell dog food? They need to sell. And I guess it's advertising in a way. Mental illness. They sell, while vaping, they sell beer. I'm saying sell as in sell commercially, commercials. They sell, for fuck's sake, they fucking talk about abortion. They talk about, you know, everything under the sun. But do you ever see a commercial about bipolar? Do you ever see a commercial about borderline personality disorder? I'm not quite sure about PTSD. Maybe sometimes. Bullying, you see that. But the only time I can say that I see anything about bipolar is when somebody famous commits suicide. And I could name off 5 people right now off the top of my head. Famous people. I know plenty of people personally, but I'm talking about famous people. Maybe they need to make commercials about those people. Maybe that's the way people will get it across their heads. Maybe they should have classes of what to watch for. Although, in my experience, suicide isn't usually a planned event, I call it. Out of my own experience, it was spontaneous. I didn't have a plan. I just did it more than once. But But anyway, the topic was labels and stigmas. There needs to be something done. People have to realize that people with mental illnesses don't do it for attention. They don't do it to be famous. They don't do it because they're bored. It's not a fucking hobby. It's a serious thing, like coronavirus. It's almost a pandemic, but I really don't know what you would call it. It's an illness. But to me, an illness is the common cold, the flu, things like that. To me, chickenpox, those are illnesses. These are more than illnesses to me, because I suffer. And people who have other illnesses suffer too. So, and I know that they have labels for those as well, but they need to come up. Who's they? How about the pharmaceuticals? How about the colleges? How about the professors? How about, people who study fucking rats and why they do the things they do? They study the stupidest shit. Just the stupidest shit. Couldn't they do something better, like, for the human race? Like, for the people who are bipolar? So, anyway, I'm gonna quit now because I get so worked up and I get so pissed off because I've been living this for far too long. And the unfortunate part is there's a shot for the flu. You know what? I get it. And it covers 3 strains. You know what? I get the 4th one. The 4th strain. There's a shot. There's a pill. There's a cream. For damn near everything. But when it comes to mental illness, we're the fucking lab rats. Have a good one.